once in a while, a vehicle will just completely change. That's exactly the case here at the Toyota press event here at the New York Auto Show, where I'm standing in front of the all-new 2014 Highlander. Now, for those of you who remember the first Highlander all the way back in 2001, that vehicle was essentially just a Camry on stilts. You know, now with the Venza in the showrooms, the Highlander is free to move up a class and compete more in the lines with the Honda Pilot and the Ford Explorer. You can see at the front, it looks like no other Toyota. In fact, I'm kind of perplexed as that it looks nothing like the previous Highlander. This massive grille actually looks somewhat like a Subaru Forester, which may be remnants of the fact that Toyota and Subaru worked together on the BRZ and FRS. Now, aside from the huge grille, there's this chrome lip that kind of goes into the headlight. It's a fairly bold design. You also have the expected LED running lights at the bottom and these projector headlights. Now, the Highlander in general has grown. It's now about 7 inches longer than the previous model, and that gives it much more interior room. In fact, the new Highlander can now seat up to 8 passengers, just like the Honda Pilot. And if you look at the side profile, it just has a much bigger presence to it. It'll just give it the kind of presence that it needs to compete with the Explorer and the Pilot. Again, the rear end of the new Highlander looks nothing like the old one. I especially like these new wraparound taillights with the kind of chrome surrounds. It just makes the vehicle look a lot more distinctive and upscale. Now, this particular one is the limited all-wheel drive model. Toyota is adapting the car-like trim levels as the vehicles available in LE, XLE, and Limited, just like all the Toyota cars. Now, a couple new features. This Highlander does have a new power tailgate that is adjustable, and from that increased length, Toyota is claiming an additional 35% more space back here. You can see the seats do fold down and it creates a pretty flat low floor. Overall, the Highlander is now giving you the expected utility you expect in this type of vehicle. So the previous Highlander was criticized for a cheap interior. That's just no longer the case with this all-new third generation. You can see the dash material has this really exquisite looking, leather stitching. It's all soft touch. Even the first generation Highlander dating back to 2001 had a hard touch dash. The door panels, they are soft touch as well. It basically mimics the dashboard. And then you get all automatic up-down for all 4 windows. That's a really nifty feature. Now, a couple of new things. There's Toyota's latest technology in this vehicle, such as their N-Tune, 8-inch touchscreen here with their apps for AHA, Pandora, stuff like that. You expect that in a vehicle like this. And of course, this steering wheel, a new design. You actually have stitching right here where the airbag cover is. You don't find that on these type of vehicles. You tend to find them on vehicles that are even more expensive, like over 60 grand and up. I like the new gauges with the blue accents. It's just a very classy, easy to read font, and then a little LCD screen in the center. This particular Limited has dual zone automatic climate control and then a 6-speed automatic. That is basically the only thing new for 2014, as the 2.7 4-cylinder, 3.5, and hybrid powertrains carry over. Toyota says there are no fuel economy and power figures yet, but expect it to stay the same, except for maybe the V6, which now gets the 6-speed automatic. I like this center console right here that opens up to reveal a large storage area with your USB, your power outlet in there. And Toyota didn't forget that your elbows are going to be resting here since it is soft touch. Another interesting thing is it's soft touch in this little storage area right here. I guess they want your stuff to be, in comfort, just like the seats. Now, one thing, this limited model has a huge panoramic sunroof. It really helps to brighten up this somewhat dark cabin with the black. Now, that longer, wider body of the third generation model is instantly apparent in this second row, where you can see I have excellent legroom. I wouldn't hesitate to take this car on a long trip. No hesitations whatsoever. Now, a couple of new features here. There is a little pop-out cup holder and tray here that actually reminds me of the original CR-V, especially since the CR-V doesn't have it. If you remember the last generation Highlander, that had this little small seat that came out and just stored underneath here. Toyota has gotten rid of that. The reason being, I'm assuming, is the wider body actually creates enough space here so 3 people can actually fit across. Toyota is also very proud of the fact that you can actually slide this second row forward with a little lever that reveals an extra 3 inches of space to get to the third row, which is still more in terms of kid size, but you can seat 8 people across just because of the wider body. A couple of new features in this vehicle are sunshades that help to, hide you from, I guess, the paparazzi if you're sitting back here. And then the rear seat passengers also have their own set of climate controls and heated back seats. As you can see, this panoramic sunroof really helps to brighten up the somewhat dark cabin, like I said in the front. And overall, the rear seat of the Highlander is much more family friendly. For To the Red Line at the New York Auto Show, I'm Sophian Berry.